Hey there, Sit and Spin fans. Hello and welcome to a very late edition of, actually now next week's episode of Sit and Spin. It's been a crazy long week or so. I had some other things going on and just did not have time to get to the episode and film it sooner. So my apologies for that. While I'm at it though, I do want to take a minute to give a shout out to all the moms out there since it is Mother's Day. Especially my own mom, Maria Carroll, the best mother in the world. And if you don't believe me, you can ask some of my friends too, because she's practically been like a mother to them too, and they all love her just as much as I do, although that's not true, I love her more. But anyway, we won't delay from this week's episode any further. This week's episode is called If the Guitar Fits, Wear It. There's a little bit of a clue as to who we're going to be talking about in there, but you're going to find out shortly anyway. Interestingly enough, both today's subjects debuted on the rock scene back in 1986. One is a solo artist, the other is a member and frontman of a band. First one we'll go to is the solo artist, and that would be Joe Satriani and his new album Unstoppable Momentum, which just came out this past week. Joe, amazing, crazy guitar player, teacher to people like Kirk Hammett from Metallica, Steve Vai, Alex Skolnick of Testament, among with others, and just a crazy good guitar player in his own right. This is his latest record. I'm not even sure how many it's been now. Quite a few. I've lost track. At least 10? I'm going to say 10. I'm going to guess. I might be off on that. But anyway, Joe's one of those guys that as much as I love all of his stuff, it seems to be like every 7 to 10 years that it's really an album that kind of blows my socks off by him as much as I enjoy the other ones. I have to go all the way back to 2004's Is There Love in Space for the last great record that really floored me by him. But Unstoppable Momentum is right up there with that, and The Extremist from 1992 is probably one of my favorite Satriani albums. Joe these days has also been spending a lot of time in his band Chickenfoot with Sammy Hagar and Michael Anthony, both formerly of Van Halen, and Chad Smith of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, where he's done a lot of rocking and had some great riffs there. And I think some of that is starting to flow off into his solo stuff, which is a good thing. And as my friend Gino Ames says, this new album is really more kind of jammy, which just really means he's in free-for-all, go-for-it kind of mode with the guitar playing, and there's nothing wrong with that, because it produces some great results, stuff like this. Particularly in the latter half of the album, there's some really fine moments. He's got a killer band backing him up on this. Vinny Colatiano, probably mangling that name, on drums particularly, has some tasty stuff on this. If you have a nice surround system, even though this isn't in surround, you almost feel like it is, because it's just recorded and mixed really well. But good stuff. Go out and pick up Unstoppable Momentum. Our other artist that we're featuring today first got his start back in 1986 too, as the member and frontman of the band Cinderella. That would be Tom Keifer. His first solo album, first one. It's called The Way Life Goes. He's actually been working on this record for 10 years now, ever since Cinderella they never really broke up. They're still together. He's still fronting them. But they did take a nice long break because Tom was having a lot of problems with his vocals. He ended up having nodules on his vocal cords, and he actually had one of his vocal cords, I believe it was the left one, that was actually paralyzed. Had to undergo a lot of surgeries and corrective things, and basically had to relearn to sing, as I relearned to talk, a little bit. So that kind of held him up for a little bit. But he's doing better now. He's actually out doing a solo tour, and when he has the time, he's actually doing Cinderella stuff and stuff too. But lately he's been promoting this album. He was actually in town here a few months ago. I missed the show. I didn't get a chance to go see it. I wish I could have, but from all accounts, it was awesome. His new album is really pretty good too. I won't say it's a perfect record, but it's really a pretty decent listen, and if you're a fan of his old stuff, you might want to check it out. Kind of picks up where like Heartbreak Station left off, where it was kind of leaning more towards a little bit of country roots, and especially since Tom's been spending most of his time living in Nashville now, that makes sense. There's also a little bit of bluesy elements and stuff too, but it's more of a stripped-back approach from, say, Cinderella. So you take out like all the 80s glam and excess elements out of it and just give a straight-up rock and roll album. Think real early Rod Stewart, even like the first Georgia Satellites albums. There were things I heard on this that kind of reminded me of that, and that's one of my favorite records ever too. Dan Baird and crew. Awesome stuff. But back to Tom Keifer. He co-produced this album with his wife, Savannah Keifer, who actually co-wrote a lot of the tunes with him. And Jim Pederick from Survivor co-wrote some of these songs as well. I shouldn't say former, he's still in the band. Cinderella guitarist Jeff LaBar is on this record for one of the tracks. And that was always something interesting to me. Usually when you see a band like Cinderella that has two guitar players, you actually think that the second guitar player is the lead guitarist. But in Cinderella's case, Tom, actually the lead guitar player of the band, and the first time I saw him play live, dude made it look effortless, which is always, discouraging to a guy like me. But just one of those guys that has it down well. So those are our 2 new releases. Tom's actually came out about a week back further. I just didn't get a chance to talk about it yet, so there you go. Go out and pick them up. They're great stuff. And we will be talking more in this week to kind of make up for this episode being late about your favorite rock and music documentaries. I'm going to name some of your favorites, going to talk about some of mine, and get maybe a couple extra episodes out of it this week because of that. So keep staying tuned this week. I'm going to make up for it. Extra episodes of Sit and Spin, and I will talk to you folks later on. Take it easy.